Hi, I'm Barry from the Next Adventure Show channel, and welcome to the Temple of Adventure. Today we are going to be reviewing this little bad boy, the Firebox Nano. I'm going to tell you why it's so cool and might even be the perfect little solo moto camping stove. Stay tuned. Alright, so this is the Firebox Nano, and it is wicked cool, and I'm going to tell you why. Firstly, because it packs down so small. Look at that, it takes up hardly any room. Very, very tiny. It goes in your pack. You can stick it in your pocket, in a backpack. Takes up no room. And when I buy gear, I kind of like to get gear that has kind of more than one purpose to it, so that the space that it takes up on the bike is maximized. And that's what I like about this thing. It's very, very cool and very, very flexible. So why would you want to get one of these? Because they're ideal for kind of quick trips, little weekend trips, or even longer trips where you want to pack ultra light. You're trying to travel as light as possible, and you want the biggest amount of bang for your buck when it comes to space on your bike. So let's have a look at this thing and why it's so cool. So I got the Firebox Nano as a kit, which comes with this metallic carrying case, as well as the little bag to keep it in. But let's have a look at what's inside. There is a stainless steel version and a titanium version. If you're a backpacker and you're trying to travel super light, you might want to go with the titanium. This is just the stainless steel version. So inside the kit, you get the stove itself, but the actual box, the actual case has these little indentations in it, which acts as a place to sit the stove into, number one, so that it doesn't move around. And number two, it acts as a little kind of ash catching tray to catch all the wood debris if you happen to be burning wood in this stove. So let's have a look at the stove itself. So as you can see, the stove just folds out quite easily, and there's a little panel at the bottom that folds down to give it its kind of rigid structure. And then you've kind of got these 4 feet to rest it on, and you can do it a couple of different ways. If you have a small diameter pot, you can turn the little arms inward and use it that way. If you've got a larger diameter pan, then you can turn everything around and set it up to hold a larger diameter pan or a larger diameter pot. Now the cool thing about this stove as opposed to other stoves is it can take multiple different fuel types, right? So with this stove, as the heat source, you can use a spirit burner, like a Trangia spirit burner will fit nicely inside here, and that can be your heat source. You can use hexamine tablets, which I'll talk about in a second, or solid fuel tablets. You can even put a gas burner inside here if you really wanted to. And then lastly, it's got these holes on both sides. You can put a little wood in here to get the fire started, and then you can put branches in each hole and continually push them in as you're cooking, and it will burn those branches and consume those branches as they burn, and you just keep pushing them in. You just keep feeding more and more wood inside the stove until you're done cooking, which is kind of super cool. So super flexible. 4 different heat sources you can use inside this tiny little stove. So super cool. Then you get these nano sticks, and these nano sticks fit inside the stove like that to hold your Trangia burner or the solid fuel plate at different levels depending on where you want your heat. You also get this solid fuel plate, so you can put this plate in here and burn your hex fuel on this little plate here. Then in the kit you also get this wind deflector, and so the wind deflector will go on one side, whichever side you want. It just kind of flexes into place. And that does 2 things. Keeps the wind from in there. It also keeps the flames from coming up on that side of your pot. So you'd want to put the handle on that particular side to keep the flames from coming up and heating up your handle. And then lastly, inside the kit, you get this carbon cloth, which you can use along with these little things here to set it up as a wind guard in a particular direction. To keep the wind away from the heat source, and you can additionally use it as a little bit of a pot grabber, because it is a bit heat resistant as well. So you can see there's a lot of stuff packed in that tiny thing, super flexible, and this is the stove that I'll be using when I go on my solo camping trips, and I'm just trying to be minimalist and pack as light as possible. I'll link to Firebox down below if you want to check out more. There's lots of good videos on how to set up the stove and how to use the stove on their site. Also on their Instagram and YouTube channels, lots of good content about cooking with the Firebox Nano, as well as its bigger brother, the Firebox. This isn't a paid endorsement. I bought this with my own money, and I really think it's pretty cool. It's one of the coolest camping gadgets I have. I do have a Trangia 27 for longer trips, and I want to do more cooking, but for the solo, really packing light, overnight kind of trips, this I think is ideal. So check them out below in the contents. If it's right for you, you might want to consider it. In the meantime, if you like these reviews and you found it useful, hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on any more. And in the meantime, I'll see you on the next adventure.